Because I care. I do.
I'm going to start commenting on your videos.
Oh, I appreciate that. Okay, so I got two factors right here multiplying to give you 0. Because both of these factors are multiplying to give you 0, then you can set each of these factors equal to 0 to solve.
Oh, I forget you can do that.
Yeah, you can totally do that. Okay, then I got tangent. Oh, it's supposed to be 0. Tangent squared x minus 3 equals 0. And then I get busy with my solving. Okay, so I get 3 tangent squared x equals uno. And then I divide it by 3. And then I have to square root both sides. So I get tangent x equals, oh, watch this now. Watch this now. Plus or minus square root of 1 over 3. Oh. What is, okay, then we got the square root of 1 over the square root of 3. It's plus or minus. Square root of 1 is just 1, so I don't need that square root anymore. And then, you multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 3. We get plus or minus the square root of 3 over 3. Tangent x. How did you do that? I multiply the bottom by rad 3 and then the top by rad 3 because we don't want to leave the square root on the denominator. Rad 3 times rad 3 is rad 9, which equals 3. And then we have 1 times rad 3. So where on our unit circle do we get rad 3 over 3 for tangent?
Pi over 6.
Yes, pi over 6. Very nice. Okay, so was that weird? Okay, so this one right here gives you rad 3 over 2 and 1/2 for your cosine and your sine. If you take the 1/2 and multiply it by the reciprocal of the x, then we get 1 over rad 3. Hey! That guy's recognizable. Okay, so at pi over 6, we get it. So we get pi, or x equals pi over 6. But there's other places that will give us, there's another place that will give us a positive rad 3 over 3.
Negative and negative.
Yeah, this guy right here. This guy. You know what I'm saying? This guy right here. You know what I'm saying? This guy will give you a negative 1 also. But what's the distance here? Yeah, that's 7 pi over 6. And you get that by adding pi to it. And then if I add pi again, I'll get back to where I was.
Yes.
And so I'll keep hitting the same angles. And so you should just go plus pi n. Now this is for the positive rad 3 over 3. What about the negative rad 3 over 3? What would x have to equal to give you a negative? That's this guy right here. What's that angle? 5 pi over 6. Oh, you guys are good. And the reason why this one works is because we have rad 3 over 2 and then 1/2, but the rad 3 over 2 is negative. And if I divide a positive and negative, I will get a negative rad 3 over 2 or rad 3 over 3. And so my answer would be 5 pi over 6. And guess what? We have to add the period again to this one. So we have like 4 answers so far for this problem. That was only for this one. What about this one? He goes, almost the same, but not quite. Here we go. We have to subtract or add 3 from both sides, and so I get tangent squared x equals 3, and then I square root both sides. I get tangent x equals plus or minus the square root of 3 because I had to square root both sides. So these would cancel out. Okay, are you guys still tracking?
Yeah.
Rad 3. All right, we know where we got rad 3 over 3, but where do we get just rad 3?
Pi over 3.
Pi over 3, that's right. We have this guy right here, pi over 3. That would give you 1/2 and rad 3 over 2. And if I divide those foos, I get rad 3 over 2 times the reciprocal 1/2. That would equal rad 3. And we are happy. Actually, I haven't seen the awesome smiley around. Let's do that guy. There he is. That's awesome smiley. Okay. Why did you do that? Okay, so there's two sets of answers here. There's the pi over 3, and you're going to add the pi to that. That's one. And then there's the negative rad 3, which would be 2 pi over 3 plus the pi n. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of answers for this one. That's a lot of answers.